What's up, all you Raising Ash trainers out there? We got another game going on. We have Grenijia here, and we got Siesmitoad, the dreaded Siesmitoad deck here. And I think he's playing it with Giratina, so it's Siesmitoad Giratina. I didn't get to see all the matches. I was sort of running back and forth. My kid was playing too, so I was sort of looking at what my kid was doing, plus recording a little bit, doing it. At the States, it's pretty like a massive type of play where, we had a huge turnout at the States. I think there was almost 200 players. So at this particular state, there was just a lot going on. So I was sort of bouncing back and forth between the recording table and then going back to my son and just sort of checking out how his games did. Unfortunately, my son did not perform well. he did really well at the cities this year and was able to score his Worlds invite, but unfortunately he didn't do well at the states. I think he just got some bad matchups all the way through with his deck he decided to play. But that's Pokemon. That's what you're supposed to do. Sometimes it's an up and down type of battle where you get a lot of wins in one and then you try and move or switch things up, and then it doesn't work out for you. So we're excited though that we are going to be at Worlds and we're all going to be playing there and having a good time. So if you do see me at Worlds, come check me out and say hi if you're going there. But let's get on with this game right now. So we got everything's all been shuffled up. What a cool mat that guy has. What does that say? Why so salty? Why so salty? That is a great mat. Why so salty? Yes, that's a great mat. I wonder where he got that at. Did he make that mat? That is cool. I even like the salty little shaker there. The salty shaker. It's got the little face on it. Look at that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Why so salty? It looks like what was that? Nightmare Before Christmas. That's what it looks like. It looks like the head of Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas on that mat. Why so salty? All right. We can obviously tell this player's got a little bit of a sense of humor going into this, so that's always good when you're playing Pokemon. So what do we have? Giratina Toad here. He's going to go ahead and mulligan. So I think that's two draws. Two mulligans in a row. We got two draws. For Grenijia, when it comes to mulligan, your opponent mulligan, it's always nice to draw cards. And the reason why is usually because Grenijia plays like basically it only has about 7 or 8 basic Pokemon. So being able to draw out your hand on those is really good because you can hopefully draw into another Froakie or Frogadier for a basic. So putting down a couple basics on your bench is always nice. That deck does mulligan a lot, the Frogadier deck. It didn't look like he mulliganed this time, so that was really good for the opponent. And here we go. He does have a basic Pokemon. He's going to flip down. He's going to pull a Shaman and a Dedenne. Alright. Dedeme's always that great card to play against the Yveltal decks. It just, it does just enough amount of damage times the 2 to really put a lot of pressure on the opponent. I really like the card. It's also a good Shaman sort of like killer where if not killer, but sort of put some little pressure on Shaman where you can like Lysander him up if he's got an energy on it and then go ahead and whack him a little bit. But the other thing about Dedenne is that its first attack actually allows you to draw some basic Pokemon. So putting some basic Pokemon down on your bench might be an alright play for the Frogadier deck. What he's going to do is, let's go back to the Siesmitoad deck, or the Shaman here with the one Shaman. He's going to go ahead and Sycamore out. He's going to draw up with the Space Time. That's a great card, honestly. It is best played with Skyla, because you can Skyla for the second space card, and then you can sort of play down it through the discards. And you can draw out your Lysanders, you can get enhanced hammers, you just can get some really basic necessities. Another Sycamore, whatever's needed on the board, that's what makes that card so fantastic. So he's going to Shaman down again, and then he's going to play the Hoopa. Now I don't see Hoopa a lot in these decks. Most of the time I see for the Giratina Toad decks, they just rack it up with Shamans in it, and then they sort of play down the Shamus. I don't very much see the Hoopa deck, and the reason why is because a lot of times the Hoopa gets Lysandered up, so it can become a risk. He decides to take the Toad, it looks like the Giratina, and the Shaman. So he really needs to get some float stones down on some of these cards so that he doesn't go into too many resources. Usually these cards play the DDE, plus they play the Enhanced Hammer. Got a little scratch on my neck and scratch that out there. Plus they play the DCE, so they're all really special energy type of cards. What's really great for these decks is actually the Jirachi promo deck, because you can discard the special energy and sort of put them in a quirky, awkward position, which is nice. I wonder if he's going to pick up that time-space puzzle piece. If he does, I wonder if he has another one. See, that's the thing about playing the puzzle pieces early. Because if you play them early, you know, you could get another draw off the trainer's mail so that you can utilize that puzzle piece. So it's a very tricky card where you really don't, I see a lot of opponents play them early, but what you really want to do is sort of hang on to them in your hand as long as possible, so that if you draw into that another puzzle piece, that you can just go ahead and play it through the discard, because that's where the real power of the puzzle piece is. It's not in the draw threes to sort of organize your cards at the top of the deck. It's actually in picking up the cards from the discard. It's sort of more of a tricky play. So we're going to go back to this Grenijia deck. Oh, and let's see, what do we have here? Shuffle out a little bit. What he really needs to do is get a Frogadier down on his bench. Now, the way the Grenijia decks sort of work is usually they run a Remoraid, and then they got Frogadiers, and they want to draw up with them. He looks like he's going to go into a stall format. So it looks like that was his only supporter he had to play, which is a real bummer. So he just dropped the supporter. He really didn't need it. He's going to put some basics down on his bench, which is going to be really good. He does have the Remoraid. He does have the Frogadier. So this is great. And this is what I was telling you great about that Dedemi, is that for these type of decks, it can actually help get your deck going a little bit. And because he's playing against the Giratina deck, and though Giratina is putting a lot of pressure on not playing the stadiums, the special energies, and the tools, it actually is a pretty reasonable matchup because of the attack off the Frogadiers and being able to multiply, and then after that going into the Grenijas. So he is going to play the Crushing Hammer on the Siesmitoad. Here we go. That's my new thing. Siesmitoad, here we go. So that's all Siesmitoad does, is it really just goes. DCE, most easiest card to play. DCE, Muscle Band, Item Luck. So he's going to go up. What he wants to do is Lysander up that Frogadier. He's going to bring up the Giratina, play the Chaos Wheel. And like I said, if he would have held on, been able to hold on to that time-space puzzle and discard like a DDE in there, or DCE, he would have been set up this round to go. So, but now he has to sort of go fishing for it. It looks like he doesn't have the DCE in hand. He is going to go fishing for it, and he is going to Sycamore out. And I've actually done that play where I battled compressed in a DDE, and then Skylud for my other puzzle piece, and then actually just brought the DDE out on the next turn, and it works really well. He's going to try another Crushing Hammer. That is going to miss. You sort of live and die by the Crushing Hammers. The Crushing Hammers are just like amazing cards when they work, and when they don't work, you wonder why you put them in your deck. But yeah, if you roll 3 heads on Crushing Hammers, a game is going to shift your way really quick. But again, if you draw into them and you roll 2 tails on them, it really doesn't do anything for you. So it looks like he's going to play the Trainer's Mail, fail the Trainer's Mail, and play in them. Let's get, what else is he doing here? They're going to cut the deck. It's always good to cut decks because the way people shuffle, just to keep your opponent on the toes, just to cut their deck is always a good habit. I usually in tournaments, if I play him, I'll cut people's deck. If I'm just playing for fun, I won't. So he does have the DCE. He's going to put down that DCE and take that Chaos Wheel. Now that Chaos Wheel is a massive play, but we have the Deme. And this is the great thing about the Deme. It is going to put pressure on that Giratina. He's going to do 20, 40, 60, 80. So he is going to get off an attack, but he does need to put down another Frogadier. Well, it is just a nice day out in Colorado here. You can see it's really pretty. Probably see that a little bit in my background. We got some snow going out. He's gonna Lysander up. I'm not sure if I agree with that play, just because I think putting some pressure if you lose to Deme is not going to be that big of a deal. Oh, so what he wants to do is he wants to draw into. Okay, so he opted to put some more basics down on it because his hand's dead. Okay, yeah, I can go with that play. That's an alright play. And this is why I said he's just going to AZ back up that Shaman. Going to go ahead and Chaos Wheel. And you're going to lose your Dideme. So you didn't get any pressure on the Giratina. Play that down. And then he's probably going to play the Giratina, draw up for a couple cards. There we go. With the Shaman. See if he decides. I think he's running through it. Or he might have 6 in his hand. He's debating on whether he wants to take it. He just goes ahead and takes the prize. I think that was a smart play, AZing that up. Alright, so what do we have here? He still has items. Giratina doesn't item lock. It does do Chaos Wheel, which is going to stop the tools, the special energies in the stadiums. But it doesn't item lock. And Grenijia doesn't really run, or doesn't really run too much when it really doesn't really matter with Grenijia for those type of lockdowns, because you still are able to play all your items. In this particular case, he's just struggling. He didn't really get a supporter on the first round, and he needs to do some water duplicates. Once he gets the water duplicates and gets the Grenijas to going, he can start laying down some damage with the giant water shuriken. Again, he's not item locked, so he is going to be able to play some of these energies out. And this is one of those decks that's very, it can conserve. It's energy conserving. So you can conserve your energy a lot and just play one energy down. He's going to go for the water duplicate. And let's see, he gets a pretty good water duplicate. Whoa, that's a massive water duplicate. Getting all those Frogadiers out on your bench is just massive. Honestly, when you're staring down at that many Frogadiers, it makes any person playing this game nervous, because they're just one step away from water shuriken and laying down just a ton of damage on you very quickly. He did get all his Frogadiers. I've seen it where 2 or 3 Frogadiers get prized, and once they get prized, the whole game goes pretty much south. But he did get all his Frogadiers out. He has 4 of it, so it looks like we are going to get game on here. He's definitely going to want to take that Frogadier with the energy. I don't think I would go for the Rimrod, but he does play down that Hex, and that Hex is a massive play because that Hex is going to stop the Rimrod from the draw. So what he's going to do is go ahead and evolve. He's going to play down, he's going to play down his water ball there, dive ball, and he's going to go into basically a Grenijia. Now, this Grenijia is pretty tricky. It can stop different things on it. It has 2 different attacks on it, basically, and the first attack is going to be able to stop basically the opponent with any abilities, and it's only going to do 40, and the second attack can do up to 60, and it's going to conserve that that energy too. So it looks like he's going to go into a Wally. He's just got a massive play going on right now. This is a great hand. He got the Grenijia out, and it's pretty tough to drop a Grenijia off the board. It has 170 HP. It's a tough play. You're going to do 100 with Chaos Wheel. You're going to bring him down to 70 HP, but you only take a prize card with him. So it's not sort of that great move. He does do it. He's going to put 60 on him, 70, 80, and then he's going to move that water energy off. So next turn he has the option of doing Giant Water Shuriken, putting another 60 points of damage on the Giratina, plus possibly attacking too at the same time and knocking that Giratina out next round. So our opponent here needs to get some options. What could happen is he could go into the retreat because he's not going to be able to one-hit knock out the Grenijia. And so he's in a pretty good place. Playing the Hex would be a marvelous move right now because he's going to be able to Hex, stopping the Giant Water Shuriken, which is going to be huge. He's also going to start the stop the retreat on him. What a great move by the Team Aqua base there. That is just a marvelous move. And what that does is that actually stops the retreat on the Grenijia. Now all Grenijas have are free retreats. So being able to manage a retreating Grenijia into another Grenijia is just a massive play. Marvelous move, marvelous. So what we have here is we have an energy, and he's going to do another 80 points of damage on him, but not going to be able to take the knockout because he played the Hex Maniac, which turned off the abilities. Now what he'll probably want to do is play that Hex Maniac again if he can. Grenijia right now is the only really threat on the board. Giratina right now is the only really threat on the board to the Grenijia deck. The Siesmitoad just won't be able to do enough damage to really threaten the Grenijia, and he knows that. So what he needs to do is get down another Giratina. If he can get down another Giratina, it would be a pretty massive move at this moment. Let's see what he does. Shuffling through his deck. He's probably thinking about whether or not to Hex or maybe Sycamore out and draw some cards. He does have a pretty big hand, and I don't know what's in his hand, but I don't know if he has the Giratina. That's the thing about the Grenijia deck, is it's a little bit of a sneaky deck because it's slow, but it does a lot of conserving energy drops that are not really going to be placed on the board. They're going to be Water Shuriken out. And so it puts opponents in these awkward positions. Oh, he gets the timepiece puzzle, and that's what I'm talking about. He's going to play that, get the Hex. If he's discarded a Giratina, he might be able to get a Giratina down or another DCE. He's going to get another via Seeker and continually play that Hex. That is a reasonable move. Going to get that Hex back. Going to play that via Seeker. Going to play it for, look like he took a Sycamore possibly. So he played the Hex. And he's going to be able to play that Hex a few more times now. He got the Ultra Ball in hand. I would assume that he would go out for that Giratina, or at least that's what I would be worried about. He's going to play that Ultra Ball. Head Ringer in this game is not going to do him any good due to him not playing any EXs. Now, a Head Ringer can only go on an EX, and it's going to stall an energy drop. But in this scenario, it's just not worth anything. Let's see if he's gonna pick up the Siesmitoad. I think if I was it, I would pick up the Giratina and lay the Giratina down. Just because Siesmitoad just won't do enough damage. Oh, this is an interesting play. He does have the Abyssal in his hand. He can shift energy around with the Abyssal. You're able to do, with Abyssal's move, you're able to shift 3 damage counters from your whatever your active opponent is down to your there, and he's going to do that. He's going to shift those 3 and put 3 on him. That is a marvelous move. He is going to Hex, again, stopping the Giant Water Shuriken. That's a pretty major move. Continually playing those Hex and putting the pressure on him. Now he really needs to get another energy or another Grenijia out. He does get the energy drop. He is going to play, oh, he has the Sycamore. What a great play. So he can play the Giant, he can play the, no, he can't play the Water Shuriken. He is Hex. All he can do is do the 50 damage off of him. He's going to play the Dive Ball. and probably going to evolve. What he really needs to get to at this point is maybe a Sacred Ash and throw back in all those Pokemon that he just lost. So playing that Sacred Ash would be massive too. So he does get another Greninja down, but he's already made his energy drop, so he can't energy drop on that Greninja this turn, which would lead, let's see, what are we doing here? He's going to lead to the knockout on the 50. He's going to bring up, now he's got the Siesmitoad. So the Siesmitoad is going to be able to put down 50 damage on him. He's going to Shaman up, and it looks like he's running 4. He's really got to be careful about putting too many Pokemon down on his bench. He does have the AZ in hand, so he can AZ a Pokemon out. What I would try and go for is that another Giratina. The Siesmitoad just won't do enough damage. Now he's running the Team Aqua base, so he does need 2 to retreat from the Giratina, but if he doesn't Hex this round, he can actually start throwing some Water Shurikens out, which will knock out that Siesmitoad pretty quickly. He will be able to do 50, which will bring the Greninja up to 80 plus item lock his opponent, which is going to be a massive play. He does look like he's going to play that Hex. I think this is the most amount of hexes I've ever seen in a game. It looks like this is his 3rd hex in a row. He's going to stop the abilities of Greninja, which is a great move, and that's sort of what you want to do. Oh, he's got him. Oh, okay, so that's pretty massive right there. He's only going to be doing 50. He's going to knock out that stadium, and this is where I'm talking about where Siesmitoad doesn't do enough damage. Now he's got the Rough Seas up, and he's healing up the Greninja. He's going to do 50 on him. And he has the ability to retreat back into the other Greninja, which is a massive play. So now he's going to go ahead and put the 50 down on him. He is going to be able to heal up with Rough Seas. That was beautifully played. I love seeing great plays like that. So now he's got 5 on his bench, and what he really needs is another Giratina. I might, in this particular, he's got the Timepiece puzzle. And again, like I said, those are very carefully played cards where you really want to try and get 2 of them. I think they're best run with Skyla, in my opinion, because it seems like with Skyla you can always get 2 of them. He's going to decide to discard the energy. Now, discarding the energy on this deck is not too big of a deal because you're trying to Water Shuriken a little bit, and because he's already played that, yeah, I think they're having some talks about it. Because he's already played that, he doesn't need it. I'm going to go ahead and put on my headphones. Yeah. Yeah, they're talking about the game right now, and what they're basically saying is he thought he made a misplay. It wasn't a misplay. I had it on tape, so I basically told him, no, he's right. So we're going to continue on. He's a... Okay. It looks like, yeah, the opponent went ahead and scooped. He saw the Greninjas up. And that's one of those frustrating... Yeah. And that's the thing about this matchup. It is a bad matchup for the Giratina Toad. The Greninja deck, if it can get the Frogadiers out, really can run over this deck. Now again, the Frogadiers are a slow deck, where Greninja can actually be, Giratina Toad can actually be a pretty quick deck. You're going to DC Muscle Band, go into Item Lock pretty quickly. You can get the DDEs out on turn 2 and start Chaos Wheeling. So it is a quick deck, where the Frogadier deck takes a little time for evolutions to happen. You sort of go into this slow, pokey type of move, and you're waiting for things to happen, and then when things start really happening, they really happen. You start taking prize cards with the Greninja deck very quickly, especially with those giant Water Shurikens. So in a way, he realized that, hey, I got my bench filled up of 5. I really needed to get down another Giratina if I was going to sort of be more competitive on this. And he's like, you know what? We're working on time. And this is a smart player that's playing. He's like, we're working on time. I want to go into the next match as soon as possible. I'm going to scoop, I'm not going to play it out, and we're going to save on time because I might be able to win this next match. So let's go check this next match out, which is brilliant by the players. Sometimes it's not a good thing to play out the matches. If you know you're in a losing hand, it's almost better to scoop. You only have 50 minutes to play a 2 out of 3 game, and sometimes going in and wasting a half an hour to play on a game is not worth it because you could end up in a tie. So these competitors understand that, and what they're trying to do is not only play their opponents in their decks, but they're worried about time, playing the entire matches through. So I just think that that was a brilliant move on his part to go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to scoop this and let's find out what happens next match. Okay, I know it's a bad matchup, but I'm going to scoop this and I'm going to try and play it out the next matchup and see what happens. So let's go ahead and let's see what happens. So we got another mulligan, and that's what I was talking about in the beginning. The Frogadier deck, the Grenijia decks, it mulligans a lot because you're not running that many basic Pokemon in it. You only have about 7 or 8 depending on the deck. Yeah, there's definitely a frustration when you're playing the Frogadier deck and you're just not picking up um, the basic Pokemon. All right, so we're ready to play now. And the thing about the Giratina Toad deck is a lot of times you do get that Shaman deck, that Shaman lead, and that's one of the reasons why you want to run the Floatstone in it. Um, he's gonna go ahead and take the Toad and the Giratina, and he's got the Shaman. He's gonna play down the Hoopa. Like I said, I don't see a lot of the Giratina Toad decks run the Hoopa, and mostly it's because of the Lysander to the Hoopa and sort of stalling out. A Hoopa's 2 to retreat, so to retreat a Hoopa is pretty costly, where Shaman is just 1 to retreat, so a lot of people go in heavy on the Shamans and go ahead and take out the Hoopas. But it seems like working for this deck because, as you can see, he's got a great start. He's got his Siesmitoad down, he's got his Giratina down, he's Ultra Brawling out, gonna probably pick up another Shaman to draw up some more cards. He has that ability at this point. I would definitely say that from the last match, I would want to get down a Giratina again. I might take the risk if I had a Sycamore in hand. I might say, hey, I'm just going to lay down another Giratina, and then I'm going to Sycamore out everything versus laying down a Shaman. I didn't see what card he picked up. He is going to play the Team Aqua base. I think that's a good move. He's going to draw up. He did take the Shaman. He's going to draw up. He does have the DDE in hand, so he can go into the next turn attacking if he picks up the Floatstone. Now, the Floatstone's a pretty massive play in these decks. You need to at least have 2. I've seen decks run 3 Floatstones in order to get these Shamans out of there and to get the Hoopas out, what are going to be constantly getting dragged up. Hoopas are just dangerous plays at this particular moment in the meta because of the Trevenant, and Trevenant doing double damage on the Hoopas off the Lysanders. Taking off with 0-6, the head ringers can just really make you have a bad day, leave you a little bit salty. He's going to take that setup for 3. He's going to go ahead and lay down the Muscle Band. And he's going to Sycamore out. Ooh, that's a lot of good cards to Sycamore out. So he does get the Giratina, which is, I think, a good play. You really have to be careful, too, about laying down your Shamans because They're easy attacks for the Frogadiers, or the Greninjas. Once you go into Greninja Break, it becomes such an easy play, where you can take all these Shamans very quickly. Doing that giant water shuriken 460, if you have 2 Greninjas down, you can start taking a lot of Shamans very quickly. It's going to rough seize that out. He's going to go ahead and take that Frogadier, play down that die ball, get that Frogadier on the bench. That's what he really wants. He probably wants to get a Float Stones on the Remoraid. Or play that energy drop. Now, Remoraid's only a 1 to retreat, so retreating back that Remoraid's a pretty good move. And he's going to pass. So I believe the Giratina deck does have the DDE in hand. He's going to try and scoop up. He misses the scoop. He's going to play the scoop again. Oh, a heads on the scoop, so that's great. He's going to be able to get that Shaman out of there, bring up that Giratina, and put on the lock as soon as possible. There he goes. He picks up the Shaman. Now he's going to opt for the Siesmitoad. That could be a risky play. I think I would want to get the stadium locked in for sure. Just because that free retreat is actually a pretty massive play for the Greninjas. He's going to Ultra Ball out. He probably has the DCE in hand. Oh no, you know what? I think he discarded the DDE. Maybe searching for another puzzle piece. Oh, he's got the Sycamore, so that's great. He doesn't have the DCE. He's going to Sycamore out. I see that he picked up the DCE. That was a great camera shot. He's got the Team Flare Grunt. But he had to lose a lot of resources to do what he needed to do in order to get the cards he needed. So he will be able to play down the Escape Rope. Great move. Great move. That was a brilliant move, playing the Escape Rope down, bringing up the Frogadier. He's going to have the Giratina up, and he's going to go into Chaos Wheel, playing down the Trainer's Mail. Picking up the Sycamore. Wow, just all the cards are falling his way this game. This is a great game. There you go. And now he's going to take the first prize. Going to put that early pressure on him. He is going to get another card, need to get another card down. And he's going to play that Starling Megaphone, take off that. He's going to attach. Sycamore out. Let's go see what he gets. He needs to get another basic down on the bench. Now, if you don't have any basics down on your bench and he Chaos Wheels, he will win this game. He does get a Frogadier down on the bench, which is pretty awesome. Let's go see what he dive balls for. There he goes. He's got another Frogadier on. He's got the die ball. He's got 2 Frogadiers down on his bench. and he's going to discard the stadium, which is a great move. Rimmerard really comes in handy. This is a great move by him, being able to get those 2 down on his bench, so it won't matter which one he takes. You really just want to get to Frogadier so you can go to the evolutions quickly. But we're back to the Giratina deck. He's going to run the Crushing Hammer and try and take off that energy. I'm not sure if I really agree with that play because he's going to knock him out anyways. And I don't see any other energies on the board at this time. So sometimes running the Crushing Hammer just to run the Crushing Hammer, if you can conserve it, it might even not be worth playing down. He's going to Chaos Wheel, take the Frogadier. And what he really needs is an energy drop. And let's see, he's going to go to the Ultra Ball. And he's going to Wally out and take the Deadmate. Now he's got the Frogadier in hand. That's going to be a massive play because he's going to be able to run Rotter duplicates and he's going to be able to put those stage 1s onto his bench, and that's really what he wants to do. Sorry I paused there. I was actually listening to the game a little bit. They were actually going back and forth. And I because of the first game, the Giratina opponent actually wasn't feeling good about the game, so he was telling him he wasn't feeling good. And then this happened. What basically happened is when he went to water duplicates, he didn't have any Frogadiers. And so this happens is where you prize 3 of your Frogadiers into your on your prizes and you win. So again, getting back to managing your time and playing that time on that first game really worked out for him on that second game. Basically what was happening, it was a brilliant move by the Giratina deck. He said, I'm not going to win this first game. Let's move on. Let's get to the next game. That's where I want to be in on the next game. He went to the next game, and this is what happens. That's Pokemon. The opponent prized his Frogadiers. Prizing those Frogadiers are massive. That means you can't really play anything. You have nothing to play. So now we go into a 1-1 match. And that's going to be a huge deal. So he's now sitting on a 1-1 match. He's not dealing with ties. He can actually take this game. And taking this game is going to be huge. So now we're at a 1-1 match. We're at a state competition. They're managing, like I said, the Giratina deck's managing the time well. The Frogadier deck is a setup deck, so it does take a little time, and it will eat into the clock. So now we're going in. They have time left to play. It's a 15-minute game. They're running about 20 minutes, so they have 20 minutes to play out this last game. Like I said, Pokemon goes beyond just what deck is better than what deck. It really goes into how you manage your time, what deck you're playing, what type of resources you can pull, and of course there's always this percentage of luck. And again, the Giratina deck definitely had the luck on his side when he went into the second match. But it worked out, and that's what's great about Pokemon is sometimes those plays work out for you for the better. Now he's got 15 minutes to play, and let's go ahead and see what happens in this next match. I really love the sportsmanship, shaking their hands all the time. He's going to lead with a Toad. He's got a great lead. I think the last 2 leads were with Shamans, so it's always nice where you finally get a card where you can lead with, where you feel secure about. I know that whenever I flip a toad, I feel pretty much secure about it, unless the opponent just flipped the Vespiquen on me, and then I get a little anxious about it. I have to go into the item lock pretty quickly. So they're going to go into the judge. The judge is basically a massive play because you can really judge people into absolutely nothing on the first turn. And with him sitting pretty with a toad, plus he's a very high item heavy deck, plus the shamans, he can probably draw out of the judge where he's going to take 4 and be able to draw out of them. Judging on a toad deck or a Vespiquen deck can sometimes be a little risky because they play so many item cards that draw up and draw outs. They play unknowns. They play all kinds of different things where the judge just doesn't work out always to the beneficial. So what do we got here? Yeah, he gets a Sycamore. He gets the DCE. He just got everything. The Super Scoop. Oh, that would have been massive if he hit that. He gets the Muscle Band. And he's going to hold off, which is a smart play on the Muscle Band. Sometimes you don't want to drop those too early. If you do drop the Muscle Band early, it could easily get killed by the Starling Megaphone. He does get the Frogadier. So the Frogadier is a massive play off the Wally. He is going to be able to do a first turn water duplicate, which is going to be pretty good. Let's see how many he gets out. He gets out 1. 2. So he's got out 3 Frogadiers. That's a pretty good draw. I mean, playing up to 3 Frogadiers is a pretty good. He is going to go into item lock, but the great thing about this deck is that it can play around the item lock. Now he is going to have the Siesmitoad. I'm not sure why he dropped that. There's no... I think I would have just discarded that. There's really no... Because that's a card where you can move if you play it from your hand. And it's an easy target for the Frogadiers, or for the Grenijas. So I don't think I would have dropped that on the bench. I think I would have discarded it. He's going to go ahead and play the Enhanced Hammer, taking that off. He's going to Ultra Ball out. So he's going to Shaman down. And he's going to take up 3. Oh, he does get that Aqua Base. That's going to be massive. Going to stop the retreat. Like I said, Toad just doesn't do enough damage to these decks. He really needs to get a Giratina out. I know he's drawing for cards, but if I was to Ultra Ball, I think I would have skipped that Shaman and just gone straight for the Giratina, just to get the Giratina down. I know he needed cards, but I think he has a Via Seeker, and he could have Via Seekered for a Sycamore. I did see him play the Sycamore. You guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe I saw him play. The item lock's going to be a pretty massive play. He's going to go into item lock, going to take 50 down on that. So he's going to have to evolve him as soon as possible in order to hang around the game for a little longer. So so he's going to just do the water duplicates at this point. It doesn't look like he had anything to play, but what he decided to do is I'm going to play water duplicates because I want to shuffle, and I'm going to shuffle them pretty good. So that's what he wants to do, is he wants to play the water duplicates just to shuffle your deck. Sometimes shuffling your deck is a really good idea, even on the water duplicates. Even though you know you got them out and there's nothing you can do about it, you can just shuffle the deck and try and give yourself maybe a better card ratio or a better top deck on the next play. So he's going to Crushing Hammer. He's going to miss that. He's going to double puzzle. Let's see what he takes out. A Super Scoop. Did he discard a Giratina? And a Trainer's Mail. So maybe he's a little short on supporters at this point. I thought he had a Professor Sycamore in there. It doesn't appear he does. Trainer's Mail up. He's got the Super Scoop. Man, he just can't catch a heads. Look at that, man. That's got to be... That's got to be like 3 tails in a row. He just can't catch a heads. I'd go and take a look at that dice. I might throw that dice out after the game and buy a new dice. He does play down the VS Seeker. Let's see what he draws out. Oh, he did have this. Yes, he did have the Sycamore in his discard. That was sort of the card I was looking at playing, seeing him play. He dropped the Ultra Ball for it. He must have had only 2 cards in to play it. Man, that's another Tails. He just can't pick him up. Trainer's Mail out. He has the Escape Rope, so he can do the Escape Rope if he needs, but he gets the Hex. I think the Hex is the smarter move, personally, just because you're going to be able to stop the giant Water Shurikens coming at you. You're also going to stop the Water Shurikens coming at you. Let's see if the top deck did it. Oh, he passed. Oh, that's major. That's major. I don't know if he can get back into this game without a good top deck for his Sycamore. That's a pretty massive play right there. If he would have top decked a Sycamore, he probably could get back into this game. I don't think he can, especially if he drops a Giratina down on the mat. He's just going to be doing way too much damage. But he can actually keep with the Toad. He's going to pass the turn again. Ultra Ball out. I'm not sure what he needs. Get that Giratina, put it down on the bench possibly. Did he prize him? Oh, he's got a Hoopa. If he puts Hoopa on his bench though, he won't be able to take into the Giratina because he's already got 4 on his bench, so that would be 5. He's going to Hex him again and go into the item lock. Oh, and it's always sad news when there's a single Frigadier on the... in the active. Alright, he's going to keep on that item lock pressure. And pass the turn. That's nice. So he wasn't able to get energy. He's unable to get to Sacred Ashes to put everything back in. He's going to Hex him again. I think that's the most amount of hexes I've ever seen anyone in play. So he did like 4 hexes there. And he's going to have to hurry up with this game. They're getting close to time at this point. So this is one of those things where you don't want to be slow playing. They're not slow playing, but you definitely want to keep track of the time. He's so close to winning. And it looks like he dead draw. That was the end of the game. That was an amazing game played by 2 great players. He just didn't get what they needed. He item locked them, and they weren't able to go into their... into the Grenijas. And that's the most interesting part about these decks, you know, is if you don't get those Frigadiers out into those Grenijas quickly, you can go into item lock with the Toad and just item lock them down the whole game.
Again, like I said, I thought the best move about this whole entire game was actually him just conceding the first game. He conceded, and he was pretty down. He was like, this is a bad matchup. I don't think I'm going to win. He conceded that first game and moved on to the second game. And the guy prized his Frogadiers, unfortunately. So the second game went quick, which led him for a perfect matchup on the third game, which he took. So, you got to sort of stick with it sometimes and play it out and sort of see how it goes. But again, brilliant move about managing the time on the clock. He knew it, and he upped his game. So great game by two great competitors. I appreciate all the support out there for the Raising Ash show. This is Raising Ash.